This video is going to focus on Romeo and Julian Okwara, pair of defensive ends, edge defenders for the Detroit Lions who happen to be brothers, or a pair of brothers who happen to play edge defender, defensive end for the same football team in the NFL, the Detroit Lions. Romeo, 28-year-old, has 23 career sacks, I believe, and Julian is 25 years old, 3 years younger, a third-round pick who has 7 career sacks. So you're talking about two guys who have 30 career sacks combined. Pretty unbelievable resume, if you ask me, for guys coming from the same family. They had an amazing effort in the Lions' opening game of the preseason. I wanted to get this video done sooner, but other things came first. The Okwara brothers combined for 4 sacks and 5 quarterback hits in the Lions' 21-16 win over the Giants. Pretty remarkable, if you ask me, for a pair of brothers to contribute like that in the same game. And then when you think about like the Watt family, you got 3 guys who all play in the NFL. 2 of them play on the same team. Pretty amazing there as well. What are the chances? But those 2 guys don't play the same position, Derek and TJ Watt I'm talking about, and haven't contributed like this, even though this is a preseason game, haven't contributed to that extent in the same game at the same time like this. So I'm gonna show, I think, 9 plays. Some from the all-22, some from the end zone angle. This first one is a run play early in the game. It's away from Romeo Okwara. He's at the top of the screen. I'm going to give you the all-22 and the end zone angle. He closes down and gets involved in the play. Look, the D-line for Detroit has so much depth. These guys are clearly behind multiple other players on the depth chart. Romeo's been around for a while with Detroit and then chose to re-sign so he could, continue to play with his brother. You can get the end zone angle. I'm going to focus on one other player that I think is going to play a role in that. We all know about Aiden Hutchinson and James Houston IV. So here's Romeo on the our left side. The defense is right, and the run concept is going to go to this side. You're going to get guys working on the back side here to kind of seal off, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to create, a cut lane for James. I think it's James Robinson, former 1,000-yard rusher for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Romeo's a little more stiff, I would say, than Julian, like the hips and the legs, but closes down well here, has a sack in this game, has another quarterback hit. Let's focus on one other edge defender for a moment, not named Okwara, Josh Pascal. Over here on the right side, left-hand side of the defense, does a great job setting the edge, if you ask me. When they talk about setting the edge, they're talking about forcing the ball or pushing the ball back inside. He's anchored down here against the right tackle. Arm extended up underneath of the tackle's arm, forcing the ball back inside where, again, getting back to the original point of our video, Romeo Okwara can close down on the backside because he's not playing the boot by the quarterback here at all and help get involved with the tackle. Just an example of how the edge defenders can work together, even though they line up on opposite sides of the field. All right, Romeo on our left here. This is a third down. This is the third down where Jack Campbell, the rookie inside linebacker for the Lions, just blankets the fullback, blankets the running back. Ball ends up hitting Jack Campbell. He's so focused on the running back and shutting him down and being physical with him. Romeo is, like I said, a little less fluid than Julian. Now look, Romeo Okwara did have 10 sacks in 2020, I believe. So, legitimate NFL talent. But great pursuit here. Gets a QB hit on the backside, forcing a stop, or forcing a punt. Actually, I think they went for it on that 4th down. Later in the game, and this is a revealing play, to be honest with you, it says a lot about Julian Okwara and then also about James Houston IV, but we'll get to him later. Julian's going to dip under the left tackle for a pretty easy sack, to be honest with you. I mean, he doesn't really have to even do anything other than just dip and go. Great burst, regardless of when it happened during the game. I believe this is the 3rd quarter, but I could be wrong. I know he had 2 sacks in the second half. All-22 angle of the same play. Again, you got Julian down here at the bottom, and then James Houston IV up at the top. I said that Julian had a great burst or great get-off here, and he does, but for a moment, let's talk about another edge defender for a moment. We already, went on a side street and talked about Josh Pascal. Look at the get-off by James Houston compared to Julian's get-off. I mean, look at the attack mode that he's in. we would always look at this angle when we could, when the camera allowed us, for our defensive linemen, like and our outside linebackers. Who's getting off the ball? We got a pretty good line there between the left defensive tackle and Julian, and then look at James Houston, the fourth. I mean, almost a full yard ahead of him. And from the end zone angle, I said, and you may have believed, and I still believe it, that Julian had a pretty good takeoff there. But compared to James Houston's, just tells you the type of speed that James Houston has and the way that he can threaten tackles off the edge almost immediately. All right, next couple of plays here. Julian and Romeo are going to be on the field together at the same time. This is Julian Okwara, and then up to the top side with his hand in the ground is Romeo. I think the way it's going to work out is Julian's going to get a speed rush. It's going to force the quarterback to step up, and then what that'll do is it'll allow Romeo to cut up underneath the B gap and then chase this quarterback down from behind. Hopefully I said that in a way that makes sense. Again, guys working together from opposite side of the field, you never know, or I never know, I should say, which of these pass rush paths are predetermined or hard-coded, as in guy on the left is going to go up the field, guy on the right is going to go underneath. It's a right-handed quarterback. You would say you'd be more comfortable with him scrambling to his left and having to open his hips to turn and throw, as opposed to scrambling to his right. Hopefully I said that in a way that makes sense. Again, I don't know this to be predetermined or hard-coded, but sometimes in our case it was, but nowhere near coaching at this level. You can see Julian's speed rush is getting around the edge, forcing the quarterback to step up, and then it just flows right together. Like a guy who you pump the jab out on, and he dodges his head one way, and he runs right into the right hand. End zone angle of the same play. Nice timing here on the our right hand side. Watch Julian swat to rip. He doesn't get the sack. Romeo does. I'll pause it here so you can see it in a moment. Romeo, Julian. It'd be great, man, if this happened during the regular season. I got to do a video on these two guys again. Look at the swat with the inside hand, the timing of it to the rip. Gets clear, or it could have gotten clear if the quarterback didn't step up. Both on the field again. On the next play that I'm showing you, Romeo, Julian in a stand-up position. Julian with a great get-off. It's such a great get-off that he doesn't even have to chop or swat or anything at all to get past the tackle in this situation. It's a sack. It's in an NFL game, and I don't care who it comes up against. The guy's a quality player. He's just be playing. 67 would be playing against other really good players too, and wouldn't look like a solid football player to some of us. But the fact remains, anybody that plays in an NFL preseason game is a solid player. Additionally, from the all-22 angle, let this flow one more time. You're going to see the Lions are using what I call a bear technique. Don't get offended, Lions fans. I don't mean a Chicago Bear technique, although that is what the defense is named after. Linebacker kind of up in the tight end's face. He's a little bit off the line compared to how we would call it, but we would often call it a bear technique when you had a linebacker in the tight end's face and then someone else, whether it was a strong safety or defensive end, lined up outside of that tight end, presumably in a rush position, and that's what the Lions do here. It's two-man, basically, is what I'm seeing, meaning it's man-to-man, with two safeties to cover, and then one of them's going to drop down, presumably from the side opposite where the quarterback looks. Now, I don't know that to be the case here, to be honest with you. It doesn't look like that's the read for the safety. But in any case, look for that if you're a Lions fan as the season develops. That bear technique, see if they do it with any of the inside linebackers that are of the starter level. All right, QB pressure to end the game, I believe, from Julian. End zone angle. I think this is the interception by Brandon Joseph on 4th and 14, something like that. Julian gets another pressure. I wanted to get this done earlier, to be honest with you, but this, so many videos that I want to get out, so much content that I'm enjoying trying to put out in the preseason, that this one kind of just got backed up in the listing or in the order, and finally wanted to get it out this evening so Lions fans can enjoy it. You guys let me know if, first of all, whether you think the Okwara brothers, both of them, will be active every week. I think that with James Houston at 4th and Josh Pascal being there, not even to mention Aiden Hutchinson, it's a real issue to get on the field as an edge defender, outside linebacker for the Detroit Lions. There's a lot of depth there. I mean, Harris is there as well. There's a lot of depth there. I think this is a much better defensive line than a lot of people are giving the Lions credit for. Brett Holmes going out there and not just got good players, acquired good players, either through the draft or free agency, but he stacked them on top of each other at positions of need. So you guys let me know what you think of the breakdown. The Okwara brothers were certainly, amazing effort to have 4 sacks total in one game and 5 quarterback hits. Fun video for me to try to produce. Can only imagine how those two felt watching each other have that much success, and then how their family must have felt watching the game live, presumably, or maybe reacting to it when they got the news later. So pretty cool situation. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, let me know in the comment section. If you think other Lions fans would enjoy this content, checking out the Okwara brothers and their performance in week 1 of the preseason, please consider grabbing a link and sharing it somewhere on social media to help this video get more reach.